Hi there, this is Tom North. If you like this recording, please like and subscribe to the channel so you can keep up to date with all of my latest work. 3. Kevin. There we were, sweating our bollocks off in the briefing tent. Lieutenant Mason called us in. No one had any ideas why. Most of us were hanging out of our arseholes. We spent most of the last night drinking way too much and lighting each other's farts. Clearly way too much fun to be had out there in the field of battle. What the bloody hell are we here for? Sam spat in my right ear. My head is fucking killing, mate. If they send us out in the field today, I'll be more likely to spew on someone than shoot them. Don't worry, mate. If you're not feeling too good, I'm sure they'll let you cuddle up in bed with your teddy bear. Oh, fuck off, you dickhead. Sam's head was dripping with little beads of sweat. He'd gone hard last night. I was surprised he was still standing. I wasn't quite sure how Sam had ended up there. We hadn't really spoken much about our pasts. We hadn't really spoken much about anything that actually mattered. We just drank and made crass jokes all the time. He'd said something about having a little girl back home once, but I guess that can't have ended well, or he wouldn't be here. If I had a kid waiting for me back at home, there's no way I'd be here. I'd much rather have a family and a life than be in this hellhole. But at the same time, the thought of settling down with some bird makes me feel sick to the stomach. I'm too bloody young for that kind of shit. I need to do something with my life first. I'll work out what at some point. For now, I need to focus on surviving this. I hear the door to the tent open behind us, and in marches Mason, looking stern as a cactus. He looks like an angry hedgehog, I thought to myself. Mason's got this weird way of talking sometimes. You can tell he doesn't want to say things. He always tries to hide whatever he's thinking, and that means that when he opens his mouth, he talks too much. He made his way to the front of the tent, keeping his face completely still, except for a slight twitching of his cheek betraying his nervousness. A uni education will get you into a position of authority quicker, but it won't make you any better at it. It takes a certain type of person to hold such power over others. Good morning, boys, Mason finally spoke. I hear you had a bit of a rough time last night. I hope you're not suffering too much, but we've got some work to do. Things have been pretty quiet since we've been here. The rogue militia group that were allegedly in the area have been nowhere to be seen, but we think we've got some intel. Mason went on to explain how the intel had come in from an Iraqi patrol that had run across them on their patrol. They'd found a house that had caught fire and the people inside were dead, their bodies burnt beyond recognition. There were several witnesses who had seen someone running away through the trees. The militia group had apparently been putting pressure on the locals, trying to gather support and intimidate them into following their rule. They wanted to set up their religious state, and they'd wage holy war to get it. The plan was to head into the village that had been attacked and see if we could see any signs of where the group were hiding. This was it. We were finally going to get some action. Finally going to get into the line of fire. Now that the moment was here, I felt a moment of fear. How would it actually feel to have a gun pointing at me? To have a bullet fired towards me? My stomach sank for a moment, and then a shot of adrenaline and excitement spiked through me. I felt sick, but alive. I looked around the tent and noticed that medic standing with his arms crossed by the door on my left. Again I felt this weird attraction towards him. I couldn't help but stare and felt curious as to what was going on in his head. His expression seemed worried. For me, the danger was getting shot, but he'd be the one trying to save my life. I can't imagine how that must feel to have that pressure. To be the one everyone looks to when they're in their worst state, when they're dying. I didn't want him to have to deal with that. For some reason I felt like I wanted to protect him, like somehow I'd already lost him, whatever that meant. My attention was pulled back to what Mason was saying. Okay, so this mission starts tomorrow afternoon. If you think you can take care of yourselves, we're leaving as soon as we finish breakfast. Good luck, you guys. Remember, you aren't alone. Mason looked more scared than anyone, but was desperate to exude confidence. After Mason had walked to his office, everyone started talking and laughing nervously. It wasn't a comfortable atmosphere. Everyone knew the next few days were going to be dangerous as hell. Everyone else headed out except for the medic, who stood still, seemingly lost in his thoughts, staring out at the tent towards the dusty horizon. After a short while, he turned and slowly walked in my direction. He made eye contact with me as he tried to walk past. Then he stopped. Are you coming with us? He asked softly. Yeah, I am. Well, don't worry. You seem pretty capable. He nodded and smiled slightly before turning and walking away. Then Sam grabbed me and pulled me out of the tent in a fit of testosterone-induced excitement. This was it. I was finally going to do something with my life. finally going to live.